What's up, everybody? It's Lauren Morrow, and you are listening to The Barn.
You know I'm only nice when I'm high. Thought I'd be a pretty fun time. The perfect incarnation of the girl of your dreams turned out to be a frozen up erotic ice queen. Maybe it's not a thriller, hanging out with a buzz killer. I never meant to ruin your night. You know.
Hi, and welcome to The Barn, live from the Barn Studios. You got the Chad here in the studio. Got a special guest joining us online right now. We have Miss Lauren Morrow coming into town this weekend. Lauren, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Doing really good. We're excited. You're going to be here Friday, June 2nd, St. Louis, Missouri at the Golden Record with you and Josh Hedley. And we're excited to have you in town.
Thank you. I'm excited to be there. We've heard lots of good things about this place we're playing, so should be a fun time.
Yeah. And you are out promoting and talking about your newest record, People Talk, out now on Big Kitty Records. Tell us about People Talk.
Yeah, so I started recording this record in 2019 here in Nashville. I was a relatively new transplant to the city from Atlanta, where I'm from. And we started recording the record, and then obviously we all know what happened in the years following that. And so we decided just to kind of sit on it and wait until we had a good opportunity to put it out where people could hear it and enjoy it. It would reach the most amount of people. And so here we are now.
And I've heard that this is a really personal record for you, and you maybe even did this record differently than some of the ones you did in the past, where every single word is important to you and is something that you've either experienced or it's happened to you. Is that correct?
Yes. I think my husband, Jason, and I had a band called the Whiskey Gentry for over a decade. And we kind of leaned into a little bit more of the like bluegrass, newgrass kind of stuff. And I was able to kind of write, more songs that were maybe like more tales of things that happened to other people, while, still had some, things that were personal to me. But this one definitely feels different. It feels a little, definitely more, vulnerable in terms of the lyrics and everything that's on it.
And how would you describe your overall theme or maybe message with your album?
I think that there's a lot on there, I think, of trying to or coming to terms with maybe the person that you've grown into. I've been playing in bands and been in the music industry for close to 16 years now. And I know that doesn't make me a huge veteran, but at the same time, I've seen a lot and I've had to deal with a lot. And I think if anything, it's just kind of like growing into yourself and whether that means in terms of your career or your marriage or relationship or whatever it is, it's just trying to find, I guess, your own voice through all of it.
And you kind of mentioned the vulnerability in some of the songs and the lyrics and the message, but I also hear a lot of confidence in the songs and the album and some empowerment as well. How do you find that balance, or how do you navigate that balance between those two?
I've always, for some reason, been blessed with confidence. I wouldn't say blessed, but I mean, it's something that I have to work at all the time. But whenever I start to feel, insecure or whatever, I kind of have to turn off that part of my brain. And it's taken a really long time for me to get there. But I think part of, growing in that confidence and being able to speak the vulnerable sides of myself has come from sharing, songs and sharing these things with people and having reactions come back and people say, like, I know what you mean and I feel the same way, or thank you for saying that, So I think it helps you kind of grow your confidence in a writer or as a writer from getting that, feedback. But also, I do think there's an element, especially of this record, where we felt like, well, like, screw it, just do what we want, say what you want. I've got nothing really left to lose at this point. I've pretty much hinged everything on this record and basically second mortgage my house to put it out, so it's like, whatever, just go for it. So there's a lot of freedom in just saying, screw it, I'm just doing it.
Absolutely. I'm with you there.
Yeah.
Specifically, the song Nobody But Me, you mentioned, writing about your experiences in the music industry. Can you elaborate on the themes and the emotions like explored in that song?
Yeah, I feel like, I definitely touch on in other songs, on the record, just the things that I deal with kind of with anxiety, but it's also it's hard, just being it's hard enough being a human sometimes, but then especially being a woman in the industry, I feel like there are some kind of impossible standards that people bring against us. And, I feel like, again, kind of going back to what I was just saying, that sometimes when you just have to, like, when your back feels like it's up against the wall, and you just have to kind of harness that personal power and say, like, I have to do this. I'm just going to do it for myself. I got to advocate for myself, and I can't, let other people's opinion, get in my head. And I think that song is it's very personal to me because, it's, I think just because you got to just stand up for yourself and just keep moving forward and keep pushing. That's all I really know how to do.
Hey, same here. You hear a lot of singer-songwriters talk about their songs being therapeutic for them. Is that the case with you as well?
Yeah, I think so. It's interesting with certain songs, they tend to some come from a place that seems almost immediate, like it was something in my subconscious that needed to just get out. Other ones are harder to kind of figure and kind of like grasp the right words, the right cadence, or the right, things. But I definitely feel like the ones like Nobody But Me, having that line in my head, like if you ain't helping, then you're hurting. It ain't hard to see. Like, I just kept thinking about that in my head, and everything seemed to kind of flow out, lyrically relatively easy from there once we started writing the bulk of the song with my producer Parker and my husband Jason. But yeah, and it's therapeutic too to play it, and especially to get, to have reactions and from women, who will be like, I was like crying when you played that, because it meant so much to me, like, that's a really cool feeling too.
In the song Nobody But Me, in the video, it showcases like women throughout history, like clips of them. How did that video come about? Was that your idea? And how much involvement did you have with piecing the clips together, and who you chose to be a part of the video?
Well, I made that all myself.
Oh, there you go. Hold on. I got this.
Hey.
Add video editing to your list, right? To your resume.
Like I said, I don't need nobody but me. No, this was honestly, came out of kind of a, like, there's no more money in the bank kind of situation, where it was like, I wanted to make something, and I had the idea to do, clips of, women doing things throughout history, or just being beautiful women, whether they're dancing or they're young girls and they're, they're with their friends or whatever. And so yeah, I found those on public domain, and I taught myself this program called Da Vinci and pieced them together. And the first time I did it, it was a colossal failure, and I lost the entire document. I worked on it for hours.
Oh no.
And then finally, like, kind of figured it out, and it got much better after that. So yeah.
While we're talking about videos, I want to bring up Only Nice When I'm High.
Yeah.
That video there, and I have to ask you, the puppet, the hand puppet, I guess, were you able to keep that? Where did that come from? That's like, it was such a cool prop for the video.
Thank you. Yeah. So that I still do. We call him Jointy. That's his name, and he lives here with me at my house. And we have a good friend here in Nashville named Adam Kowalski, and he and I and my husband and producer were having lunch one afternoon, and I had told him that I had this idea for a video that would have it was inspired kind of by, if you watch South Park, Mr. Hanky the Christmas Pooh, that has like the really long arms and legs, and I was like, thought, like, if there was this kind of joint that would be following me around in certain situations where I felt anxious and helping me through them. And Matt just kind of laid on us that he he can create puppets. And he was like, well, I'll do like a prototype. I'll show it to you, see if you like it. And he sent us that. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. So he built it, he puppeteered the whole thing. And yeah, just it was just an amazing thing to be able to have.
Yeah, very, very cool concept, and brought a sense of humor to it that I think is always kind of nice and helps with the message. Yeah.
Yeah.
You've mentioned your husband a few times. I know you obviously did some collaboration and played many years of music with him, but you also collaborated with your producer, Parker Kaysen.
Mm-hmm.
And between you three, you kind of came up with this album. How was that collaboration? And I guess, how do you collaborate with your spouse? How do you keep home from job separate, I guess?
It is tricky and complicated sometimes, but Jason and I have been, it's always kind of ever since we started dating, we started playing music together. And so, I think we do a pretty good job of trying to find the balance. But for years, I wouldn't really write with other people. I would sometimes write with Jason, and he would tell me ideas, and, I'd be like, I don't like it, and I would just be kind of like, just, I don't need you to tell me what to do kind of thing, and
All right.
not listen to him, even though he would be right most of the time. But, I think when we made the decision, it was really Jason's decision for me to go solo, and he and I, started writing more together, started opening myself up more to that. And then when we met Parker, and I really felt, like Parker really understood me, musically and as a human, and, and all those things, that it just felt like a really natural thing. And so, there were times when we would we'd go to Parker's house or go to the studio, and I would have an idea for a song, and he would help with his, big creative brain, and Jason would throw things in, and it felt nice. Like I said, certain ones were harder than others, but I do think that you can hear all of us on there in some shape or form.
And specifically with the album People Talk, I mean, it's receiving some high praise from some pretty notable publications like Rolling Stone. Mm-hmm. How's that been for you, and what does that feel like?
It feels great. It's like, it's such a crazy feeling sometimes, because this industry can definitely make you feel so insane. And I definitely feel like with this record, because we had waited so long to put it out, that I had very little expectation about, what it was going to do. I knew that I loved it, and I knew that we had a really good set of songs on it. Ones that I've been more confident in sharing than many others in the past. But I think part of it was just having to go through the pandemic and just really like releasing any expectation that now anything that comes through, I'm like, floored by, because I'm so just excited that people like it. And I'm more so excited that it finally got out, and, and that people are still enjoying it and talking about it. And hopefully it will be one that people will continue to talk about,
And you mentioned off air before we came on air that you're getting ready to leave for tour literally tomorrow.
Yes.
And you're going to be out for a while. You're obviously doing some dates, and specifically the St. Louis one coming up with Josh, but you're also going out with Drivin and Cryin and Sunny Sweeney, which is, great artist.
Yeah. We've done a few dates now with Drivin and Cryin. Really, like, kind of when we first started going, as Lauren Morrow, and they become good friends of ours, and we've got a few with them at the end of this tour. And then the one with Sunny, and hopefully we'll do some more stuff with Sunny later in the year. But yeah, just really awesome people and great musicians all around, and great people. So, that's kind of what it's all about.
And when you go out, is it a full band?
Yeah. So this tour is full band. And the ones with Drivin and Cryin and Sunny will be full band as well. Jason and I did a tour last year. It was like 150 dates, and it was just Jason and I, and as a duo. So it's been really nice. Like, we just wrapped up a month in Europe, and it was so nice to be able to play with a band and like hear these songs for the first time with the band live. So, it's going to be really fun.
And we can't wait to see you Friday, June 2nd, St. Louis, Missouri at the Golden Record. Lauren Morrow and Josh Hedley. And we can't wait for you to get into town. And we appreciate your time today, Lauren.
Thank you so much. Can't wait to see y'all.